let's talk about barebow. I wanted to shoot barebow this season in our 3D tournament circus, and I would like to know what would be your favorite barebow setup for 3D.
For 3D?
Yeah.
Okay. So the beauty of barebow, I have a lower anchor, not down here, but I'm here, and you know, everyone's head and face and hands are different. And so you could have the same anchor as someone else, but their gaps are much different. So for me, the beauty of barebow is I'm point on. It doesn't matter. Now, I may have to go further down the string on my crawls than you do if you have a little higher anchor than me. But the beauty of barebow is you can find what's consistent and stick with that, what's comfortable. I've tried to raise my anchor, and that's the reason. So look, I shoot barebow better than anything else. I'm more accurate with that. If I had my choice, I would shoot longbow with wood arrows. That's my favorite.
Okay.
I love longbow with wood arrows. I love it. But I don't gap as good as I shoot barebow. And so if I'm going to compete, I'm going to compete where I am the most competitive. So it's barebow. So with that in mind, the beauty of barebow is it allows me to the flexibility to do some things that like anchor lower and set my rig up so that that I shoot to maximize my potential. So you know, unmarked courses, it matters one or two things. Speed matters and your ability to judge distance, especially in Europe, because your 3Ds are a lot further than ours.
Yeah.
We don't shoot outside about 30 yards. You guys shoot further. So with that in mind, the slower the bow, the more the arc, that arrow's arcing in there. And so your ability to judge the distance has to be perfect. If you're shooting a slow arrow and it's arcing and you're off 2 or 3 yards, you're in the 5 ring, or you may even miss the target on a long shot. So that matters. With that in mind, the key to success for barebow 3D is get as fast an arrow as possible. When I won the Worlds, I was shooting the Spigarelli riser with Win and Win NO power limbs. I was shooting 37 pounds, and I was shooting the Cheetah Carbon Tech arrows, which are very light and thin-walled. Had them cut to 27 1/4 inches, and I was shooting 203 feet per second at 37 pounds. I mean, that's fast. They were flat, just like darts. So with that, I could misjudge the distance by 3 or 4 yards. My arrow wasn't going to move more than that.
Okay.
So the first thing is shoot a weight that you can comfortably shoot and hold. For me, 37 to 40 pounds was about right. Indoors, I shoot lighter than that. But outdoors, you know, if you're shooting 3D, you're only going to shoot a couple arrows and then you're going to have a break. You know, field, you're going to shoot 112 arrows in a day. So
that's a lot.
You can't be quivering, you know, after 60 arrows or you got problems. So find the weight that you're comfortable with that you can shoot the most weight you can and still be comfortable and consistent. And then find the arrow combo that flies well out of that bow. Now I shoot Easton ACE arrows. They're a little bit heavier. The arrows I was shooting before were about 270 grains. I mean, they're light. That bow sounds like a .22 rifle when you shoot. It's like, pow! It's like dry firing it, but the limbs hold up. The ACEs, it's a barrel shaft. They're expensive. I glue feathers on them. I shoot 2 1/4 inch little tiny feathers. The key to that is you want the smallest feather you can shoot to consistently shoot well. Now, what I mean by that, I see guys with 5 1/2 inch feathers on their bows, and it's because they have sloppy releases and their arrows clean them up. So they think, oh, these fly great. And I'm like, no, they mask your pitiful release. You know, if you're plucking that string and arrows coming out of there, that big feather grabs wind, spins, stabilizes the arrow in flight, and it makes up for a lot of your imperfections. So you want to get clean. That's why form is the most important. Get clean off the string so you can get a smaller feather, because the feather's creating drag. So the smallest feather you can. I today would go with the Easton ACE, and I would shoot the smallest feather. I used to shoot spin wing vanes, you know. I don't like gluing them back. I don't like taping them back on and off. They're kind of fragile, that Mylar, but I mean, they're nice and they spin the air really fast, but they're good for field. The thing I like about the ACE, that barrel shaft, it cleans up really fast. It's good in the wind. It's better than you are in the wind. So the wind will blow you, and you've got to try and time your shot or hold still.
Yeah.
But once that air is shot, it cleans up, and it does very well with you. You know, today the modern technology on limbs, I shoot carbon foam. It's really smooth. It's fast. A lot of guys shoot carbon wood. I hunt. I've got a set of hunting limbs. I've got 2 sets, I think, that I hunt with sometimes that are carbon wood. They're a little cheaper. Carbon foam's expensive. But performance-wise, I find it to be the smoothest and the fastest. And so I have 3 sets of TradTech Extreme BF limbs. Lancaster Archery makes them. TradTech's on my Lancaster. I love those limbs. They perform well for me. I like the Best Moon riser. There are other risers out there that are equally as good, I am sure. The beauty of a Barebow riser is you can change the grip. So find a grip that you like. I shoot a longbow. I like a Fox Triple Crown longbow because I like a high-wristed grip forward on that. But on a Barebow, I shoot more of a moderate, medium grip, and I get a little more heel into the bow on my Barebow. I completely open up, let the bow shoot out. I shoot a finger sling. And then, you know, a modern fiber string with very little stretch. You know, D97, TS1, something like that's quick and strong. So there you have it, a set of carbon foam limbs. For me, I would go with the TradTech BF Extremes. I like the Best Moon riser, but again, many good risers. The Gila, I mean, there's just a bunch of good risers out there, but get a grip that you like that will allow you to be perfectly repeatable. Your hand is exactly the same every time. Good modern fiber string, and I like the Easton ACE Eras. I will say this, you know, to break this down, archery is about repeating the exact same thing every time. Mm-hmm. If you do everything identical every time, the arrow lands in the same spot every time. And so there's nothing wrong with canning the bow. There's nothing wrong with where you anchor anything. Any of that's okay if you can repeat it every time. And that's what I tell guys. Why don't I shoot the bow straight up and down? Because I can make sure it's straight up and down every shot. I shoot a grip. I don't like in a wood bow the old Howard Hill style oval handles. I can't get my hand the same every time. So I shoot a grip that allows me to hold the bow exactly the same every time. And so I'm trying to minimize the variables in the shot process. Yeah,
that's what I try too. You know, I've even removed the grip from the bow, from the Barebow riser, to have some kind of a compound grip. You know, I shoot it like a compound bow. I think
Scott Anstack shoots that way.
Yeah, and you know,
he shot successful that way.
Yeah, you gotta. If you shoot a recurve grip, you know, it's designed for shooting low here. You know, like Olympic style. If you lift everything up, you know, it's for my shoulder. It becomes hard with a high wrist to be stable and not to hurt someday. You know, so to get my shoulder down and my form more stable, I use some kind of a compound grip. Actually, I remove the grip totally. Yeah. I think it's good. I shoot 37 pounds as well, and I use kind of the same arrow. I have used a Victory VAP with the small feathers, and it's true. Yeah, it's really repeated. You know, these small diameter arrows, they group so well. There's not, you know, when you are shooting out in the woods or in the field, like the wind or the elements, they don't catch it. You know.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of guys like the fat diameter shafts because they like the lines. I shoot them indoors. I do at paper targets, but for 3D, I'm not so much worried about the line as I am getting as fast a flat arrow as I can.
Yeah, I know cutting lines is interesting when you're shooting compound bow. Or maybe you can even block out other opponents from the 10 ring or the 12 ring if you shoot big arrows, but but not when you're shooting a barebow. Just a sip of water. What do you think about the biggest mistakes in traditional archery setups when you want to take part in a tournament?
Yeah, you know, I see a lot of guys that are clearly not tuned, but it's tricky to say that depending on what class you shoot. So barebow guys are pretty good at tuning because the guys that gravitate toward barebow are interested in constantly tinkering with the bow because you have to be in that class. So usually the guys with the best tuned arrows and bows are the barebow guys. I see more mistakes in the recurve and longbow guys.
Okay.
But I will say this. It's very different in Europe than in the States. So if you shoot, we have two, you have local shoots, but the two big organizations that hold big shoots, like thousands of shooters, are the ASA and the IBO.
Okay.
The ASA, their traditional targets are generally 20 yards and in. They're very close. IBO goes out to 30 yards plus or minus 10%. So you could have a 33-yard target. And they tend to put them, the placement's tough. Sides of hills. I've even shot them in trees before, elevated, or, tougher looks to the target.
Okay.
Guys that shoot that close will detune their arrows sometimes to best compete. Now, what do I mean by that? If I know all of my shots are close, I want my point on. If I'm gapping, so in our recurve class, our track class, you have to gap or but what we call barrel shoot, which is looking right down the arrow.
Yeah.
You have to find a way to be able to aim your bow, to be really competitive. So anyway, to reduce your gaps, they want to be point on around 25 yards.
Yeah.
Most guys are plus or minus 5. They're going to be tuned. They're going to set it up to shoot. So they don't care how the arrow flies necessarily. They want, if they put the tip on the dot in the center of the 11 ring for us, 12 ring ASA, well, I guess IBO, it's the 11 ring. If they put the tip in the center of that dot at the point on range of 25, it's going to hit it. Then all they have to do, if they've got a good high anchor, is they're going to be on that animal at every range. They might be at the bottom of the 10 ring aiming one time, at the top of the 10 ring, at the bottom of the belly, or the top of the back, but they're on the animal.
Exactly, yeah.
So they set their bows up to that. I've seen guys with their knocking point on the bow an inch high.
Too high, yeah.
So an inch above center. That arrow's coming out flying like that. It's not tuned very well, but they don't care as long as it impacts where they want it to impact at a given range. But I see other people that just get up there and shoot, and it looks like their arrow's going to swap ends on the way to the target. I mean, it's just terrible. And I'll be honest with you, the reason those guys have, my experience, watching them and being around the practice bells and listening and everything, and working with some of them, is they don't shoot well enough to tune.
Yeah.
And so if you can't shoot 3 arrows exactly alike, it's hard to tune. So work on form first. Get a repeatable shot process that allows you to shoot. I don't care where the arrow hits on the target, as long as they all hit together. Now we can tune. Now we can work together. So, we'll do a clinic sometimes, and guys want to talk about tuning, and I'm watching them shoot. I'm going, you can't shoot 2 arrows the same. we can't tune until you perfect the shot process. Don't even worry about that. You know, learn to shoot the bow with a repeatable shot process, work on the blind bell, get that down, and then we can start tuning. And I understand everybody wants to go shoot a tournament, they want to go score, but that's the reason some of them never reach their potential, is because they don't have the foundation of being able to shoot the same shot process time in and time out.
Maybe they focus too much on material and too much about if I you know, tune something right, things will work out. It's not that. It's more about using technology the right way.
Yeah.
You know, and the right, you must be able to do it the right way, or else the best tuned technology will not help it, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are hard to coach because, you know, I used to play golf a little bit.
Okay.
And I remember I was in college, and I came home, and I went to a driving range, and there was a pro down there. And he saw me hitting the ball, and he came over and he said, "Man, you've got a serious flaw in your golf swing." And he tried to fix me and help me fix my golf swing. I said, "Oh, that feels so awkward. It feels wrong." He said, "Absolutely, because you've been doing it wrong for years." And so when you go from wrong to right, it's going to feel different. It's not going to feel right. Well, it's no different with the bow. These guys have been shooting for years the wrong way. So then they come and want to get coached, and you try to help them, and if it doesn't work instantly and doesn't feel, "Oh, yeah, that's perfect, that feels great," then they go, "Well, that doesn't feel good for me. That won't work for me."
Okay.
No, you got to retune yourself. You got to retrain yourself so that does feel right, and now right feels right.
Yeah, in Germany we have, you know, a really huge group of traditional archery, like split finger and the traditional recurve bow. They have, in our tournament ruling, they have to use split finger, and they have, you know, so most of them, they're anchoring low, and they use some intuitive aiming technique, let's say.
Yeah.
It's kind of easy to shoot a good shot like that. It's a good way to get. That's why I say it's good to start with intuitive or instinctive archery, because it's easy to repeat that. You know, the mistakes people I think make in Europe or in Germany is they use the wrong arrows. You know,
really?
if I go to a shot and we shoot 3D, they use all these, you know, traditional hunter and warrior arrows. They're really heavy, you know, and they think, you know, because the bow sounds better or the arrow flies better if it's heavy, it seems to fly better, that it helps. And I would sometimes. People ask me what would I do. I say, you know, you can shoot a bow for $200. You can shoot a bow for $1,000, and the bigger difference you will make is using the right arrow. And if you want to gain speed, it's not mainly by putting on more weight. You know, we shoot in 3D. People shoot like 40 to 50 pounds. I have a friend in the club. He shoots 111-pound recurve bow. I'm like, I mean, he's doing it for fun. Okay, it's not for success. He shot well for several years, but it's not unusual that people shoot like 50 pounds. And I was like, you know, what you want in a tournament setup is repeatable, and you want to shoot it all day. You want to start in the morning and you want to be shooting it in the evening. And if you shoot like a bow that it's hard to hold back, and then you know and you reach some speed that is good for 3D with that, it would be so much easier if you would use light arrows and lower the poundage. I shoot 37 pounds. I think it's the most weight I can hold back. The way I aim, you know, I use a point of aim technique and a fixed crawl. I'm shooting like an inch. I'm holding the string an inch below the nock of the arrow.
Yep.
And so my point on is like 27 yards. And in the world archery ruling, we only shoot 30 meters. That's like 33 yards. Mm-hmm. And so I can do what you described. I shoot the smaller distances. I hold a little below the kill, and the longer distance over like 30 plus, you know, yards or 25 plus yards, I hold a little higher. So I'm always on the target with my point of the arrow,
Right.
which is totally fine, you know, and you get really accurate with that.
Yeah, I guess, you know, there's now. I will say, you know, at our 3D shoots, we get guys that aren't interested in the score or the tournament. They use 3D for hunting preparation, and so those guys want to hunt they want to shoot their hunting rig, which may be, you know, a bear recurve and, you know, aluminum or wood arrows or carbon, whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're there to win, to try and shoot the highest score, you have to play the game you're in.
Yeah.
That's like going to a track meet and say, I'm going to wear boots to run in because I like it. Well, okay, but you're not going to win. And I mean, you got to put some track spikes on if you want to be competitive. And so, the problem, I guess, that we have here, I don't know how it is there, but it's that a lot of, and I don't want to categorize everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of those folks judge those who are there to shoot a high score and seem to have a chip on their shoulder because they get beat when they didn't stand a chance by what they brought to the tournament in terms of equipment and setup, and they're not there to be able to be competitive with the guys that know how to shoot high scores. And those guys, look at me. I go and I shoot one rig for 3D. I don't hunt with that same rig.
No.
I hunt with a totally different setup.
Yeah, you know, that's the way when I switch to the freestyle unlimited class with the compound and everything, you have so many options. You know, you almost for every tournament you can set up a different setup. You know, it's
right.
Another arrow, another tip weight. You have in the IFAA you have 300 feet a second. In the World Archery you have 60-pound limits. It's different, you know, and for lighting you use a big scope, a small scope, you know, and I learned that if you really want to be on top for several years or for, let's say, a period of time, not only for one time, you really have to do it. I mean, it's a material game. You have to be willing to put time in it. You have to have all the equipment. You spend hours in the garage and you know, tuning things and screwing this and try this. I even drilled holes in the cams of my compound bows. Oh, I did everything, you know. And now that I come back to the more, let's say, limited class, you don't have so many parts on a barebow. You only have your arrow rest and the arrow, and you know, you can do something with the knocking point, and that's about it. Maybe some weight here and there. It's not too much, you know.
Yeah.
And so I really got but the good thing is that I've lost all the fear of trying things.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah, because there's always somebody knows the right tiller for barebow. I don't think there's a right tiller. I think that is a tiller. The bow sounds okay. Okay, and you gotta memorize it. You gotta measure it and memorize it for yourself. So if you switch to another riser or different limbs, that you can reproduce it. It doesn't mean that your tiller is the same that works for everybody else.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, yeah. But you know, after talking about shooting, I would like to talk a little bit about archery and life. You are a pretty famous speaker, and you wrote books on your experiences in the armed forces, on leadership, on how you command teams and all that. And maybe we can, from this perspective, we can look back to archery a little bit, because I was wondering if there is a certain type of person that becomes a really good archer, in the opposite, like in comparison to like maybe characteristics or habits that that are standing in your way if you want to become a good archer? What do you think?
Right. Well, in my seminars, my full day seminar, I do a segment on goal setting. And I talk about time management and priorities in terms of those things. And I use the archery analogy. And number one, archery shooting is about priorities. And the priority can't be the score. It's got to be what you control. So control what you control in life. And this is no different in someone who's trying to train and run their first marathon, someone who leads a business, someone who's just trying to be the best version of them. Control what you can control. And I call it, the way I go to it, is the arrow on the string. And I'll ask people, talking about in life, what's your arrow on the string? Because I tell them, the last arrow you shot at a tournament, it doesn't matter if it was a 10 ring or you missed the target. It's gone. It's over. It's irrelevant. There's nothing you can do to change what happened. The one that's in your quiver is irrelevant as well, because that's in the future. The only thing that matters is the arrow that's on the string right now. That's what you control. So what are you going to do with that? I'm going to control what I control, which is the shot process. I'm going to be repeatable. I'm going to walk from the feet to the hips, to the arms, to the grip, to the distance estimation, to the draw of the anchor, the pull to conclusion. I mean, I've got a shot process. I know how to do it. I'm going to control what I control, what I can control. And so that has to be your priority. The score will take care of itself if you take care of what you control. And it's no different in life. You know, I've had some kids that I talked to. I talked to a youth group, and just a bunch of high school kids, and some of them were stressed out because they didn't think they were going to get accepted to the college that they wanted to go to, because this one young lady was failing chemistry. And she was just freaking out because I got to have this ACT score, and I got to have this grade point average, and I got to have this and that, and I'm not going to get there. I'm failing chemistry. I said, stop. What's the arrow on the string? What can you control tonight, right now? You can go to your room right now and make flashcards so that you can learn your chemistry, study tonight, so that you'll make a little bit better on the next test. Because that test score will raise your GPA just a little bit more. And that will better prepare you for the ACT your junior year. But you can't control that ACT right now. You can't control that GPA right now. What you can control is the arrow on the string. Go study for 2 hours right now. And I think that has helped me just thinking deliberately through. You know, a lot of people today, especially as busy as we are, they're very reactive in nature. I call it the squirrel syndrome. You know, squirrel.
Yeah,
everything all day. They just react. And they don't have priorities and the discipline to go through what they need to do. Well, I don't think a good archery practice session is any different. You know, I would go down at night and think, you know, my bow arm's been a little bit sloppy lately. I'm going to spend 30 minutes doing nothing but working on my bow arm. I don't care where, I'm just a blank bail. I don't care about anything else. I'm going to work on that fundamental of the shot process. Or I'm going to go and I'm going to work on the release for half an hour. But I have priorities. I know what I need to work on and have the discipline to go and do it. That's the recipe for success in life. Know your priorities, manage your time appropriately, and have the discipline to do the things you need to do. And most things in life is just blocking and tackling. It's the rudiments. It's just doing those simple things repeatedly. Do routine things routinely.
Yeah. Is that maybe one of the, you know, one of the aspects of archery that makes it a good idea for someone to want to become a good archer, because it tells you something about life, that, you know, the arrow on the string, it's something you can do right now. You got to block out all the obstacles, you know, all the uncontrollable stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think it helps you to focus, that's for sure, because if you don't focus, archery's tough. You got to be able to deliberately think through a process and focus on what you need to do to make a good shot, you know.
Okay. What would you think is the is one of the main lessons archery told you as a person?
Oh man, archery, I don't know that it's what it taught me, but what it gave me. And it's given me incredible satisfaction. There is just nothing more rewarding than to shoot a good arrow. And I just love walking through the woods with friends and shooting and the camaraderie of the sport and even just by yourself out back on a butt, you know, shooting arrows and that's as peaceful and that's as good as it gets. And I miss it now. I'm not able to shoot right now very much because of life, and so I miss it. When I was making all those videos, I had a great range right behind my house. Every day I'd come home from work, I'd see the wife and kids, and usually a kid or two would follow me out to the backyard. And as the sun lowered behind the trees, we'd just sit out there and shoot arrows and talk. And it's a great sport that, like you mentioned earlier, you can do as a family and you can do for life. It doesn't matter how old you are, and just enjoy it.
Yeah. Where does the magic attraction of archery come from? Is it I think sometimes it's a very human thing to aim at something, you want to reach it, and it's out there and you can see what you do and what happens out there.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess very few, kids. I've had a lot of Boy Scout groups or youth groups, and people had asked me if I would teach them archery one afternoon. I never in my life had a kid show up and go, "I'm not interested, I don't want to do that," and I go over there and sit down. They all want to just grab that bow and shoot, and it's funny to see the light in their eyes when they hit the target and they make a good shot. And so I think it's just natural for us. I don't know. People just seem to love it, and that's why I want to share it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, with really good words. I mean, really good talk.
Yeah.
I would,
So if you haven't, I can't not get a plug. You haven't seen Bellhorse, hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, I've seen that you wrote it. It's a storybook about your experiences in the war. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's in Afghanistan, and it was a tough year, and I took some self bows over, set up a little archery range. We'd come back from some missions, and a lot of times just walk down and shoot the bow. A lot of folks sent bows over, donated them, and taught some soldiers to shoot. It was a great release,
Oh.
Come back, and it's been a stressful, rough day, and you just go out and shoot some arrows.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Good. I think that what I wanted to talk about on barebow and archery and life, I've been able to ask you. It's been a really, really pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah.
And thank you very much. I hope that you may find the time to shoot more soon, and maybe we can get back on that barebow topic again, because I think that there are more questions open for me.
Yeah.
Okay, but thank you so much so far.
Well, thanks for having me, and a lot of friends over in Germany.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I was able to do it with you.
Yeah, and thanks to the Bogensportwelt. It's I told you, it's like the American archery, Lancaster Archery, a huge online store for archery equipment. It's the biggest one we have here, and they make things possible. They make possible that beginners can watch these videos, and they bring it to them, and it's a pleasure to get a chance and give something back.
You bet.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, have a good day.
You bet. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.